Peace. You fight for something you do not understand. All you reap is chaos. Wolves. Sheep. You are but untamed beasts.
Careful what you wish for.
What's up, Warriors? Welcome to the final title update of Year 8. Man, do we've got some spicy stuff to show today. I'm so excited. Joining me today, Nolan, JC, how you both doing?
Doing great.
Yeah.
Holy
Doing
crap.
good. I'm
Yeah.
doing good too.
Doing
yeah.
good. That's amazing.
I don't know why I'm here in the first segment there, but
I wanted to have you here. It's
I have
nice to
a
you
feeling
here.
it's because I have I have this fan club on the
Oh.
internet, and so people are already loving me in chat.
It's
so-
true. They were spamming your
That's
name in
good.
the chat.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
true,
He's
right? So
here. He's here. You don't
I'm
have to
here.
wait.
We thought we'd
You
try
don't have to
something,
worry
yeah.
about if I'm going to be here or
Yeah.
not. I'm here. It's all good.
He's here. He's not
can
going
chill.
anywhere.
You can
All
chill.
right? Yeah.
You can rest assured.
Yeah,
of it and
yeah.
stuff.
That's good.
Exactly.
Well, we're happy to have you here. I'm happy to be here. And folks, listen, before we dive too much deeper into the ginormous title update, this Warriors Den we have today, we got to talk about Twitch, all right, and specifically Twitch drops. Okay, so if you have not done so already, please go link your UB Connect ID to your Twitch account. That way, for every 30 minutes you're with us today, you're going to get a scavenger crate. And at the end of the show, we're going to pick some lucky winners to win a grand prize of either 100K steel or the new hero, the KHATUN.
I'd like to win the hero.
You would?
I would too.
I'd like to win.
Maybe we can arrange that for you.
Okay, that would be
Like,
awesome.
do you,
We'll
like,
set
you
that
wanna- We'll talk to the people in
Okay,
the
cool.
back.
All right.
Make sure you can play the new hero.
I'll write it down.
We'll make a note. We'll make
Right.
a note. Good.
Nice. We also wanted to be transparent and provide the drop rate information of the
yeah.
different rarities of gear you can get in For Honor. So absolutely nothing is changing. So if you want more information on this or that topic, you can visit our website tomorrow. There'll be some stuff there for you to see.
Very
We
cool.
also had Friend or Foe wrap up this past
Oh
weekend.
my gosh.
This was our 1v1 tournament. It's the culmination of the entire circuit. I Love Bears won.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
up
was like
against Bean.
crazy hype. I
Yeah.
was not expecting everything that happened there.
Yeah.
Amazing. Like honestly, it was like super tight matches.
Yeah.
Everything was super interesting.
Yeah.
Good job to everybody involved there. But
Yeah.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did we check out the bracket as well? Yeah, you could see I Love Bears just went 3-0 all the way through.
Yeah.
No bracket reset necessary.
Yeah, it
all
was
the way through.
the level of play with those contenders there was just amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Like I was on the edge of my seat, like no joke, just like watching on the Twitch. It's like yeah,
Yeah.
no. It's so good.
Yeah. I want to say a big thank you to our tournament organizers, Spandard and Nutella, and also all of our casters and analysts. So we had Vivid, Verb, Freeze, Norgaz, Jones. There's a bunch of people who casted not only on our channel, but over on the Dojo channel as well. So none of this was possible without all your hard work. So thank
Right.
you very, very much.
Thank you.
Amazing. Yeah. We've got some awesome stuff coming up in the show. Let's check out the agenda. What are we looking at today? Got our new hero with a deep dive on the lore, gameplay, animation as well. We'll be taking a closer look at our new hero's design as well with one of our texture artists. Super excited for that. We have Carl and Luke here to go over all the music that was created for Year 8. So we're doing kind of a Year 8 review of all the music.
Nice.
Very excited. Got some patch notes, of course.
Mhm.
Can't forget that. And of course, the community corner at the very end with
Love it.
Jet and Josh.
Love it.
Awesome.
All right.
Something else that's cool is coming this title update are Steam achievements, and these are actually retroactive. So if you already
that-
completed them, yeah, you could show
No way,
that
this
too. We also have.
What's this?
We're going to be on
this?
Steam Deck as well. We are currently on Steam Deck.
Here we go.
Yeah,
Go play.
hell yeah.
Gotta play right now.
But yeah, these achievements are retroactive. So if you've already done the stuff to complete them, you'll be just unlocking stuff. So yeah, pretty
Awesome.
cool.
Very cool.
We also have a free week starting tomorrow. Hell yeah, look at this. So
Ooh.
from January 23rd to January 30th, For Honor will be free. on Xbox, PlayStation, and UB Connect. But the free period will end slightly later on UB Connect. It'll actually end on the February 3rd. So there's a bit extra time on UB Connect. So if you haven't played For Honor and you want to try it out, it's free.
Those
Get
are,
all your friends to download it and
Yeah.
play with you.
You heard him. You heard
there's
the man.
no
Very
excuses.
important.
No excuses. All right. It's free. That was a really cool graphic too. I hadn't
like
seen that. That
I
was
like
really
that.
neat.
I like
That
that.
was nice. Good stuff.
But yeah, before we jump into all this stuff, JC, you know you're not usually in the intro. So what
Yeah, no,
what
of
are
course.
you doing here? What are you doing here?
Well, besides for my fan club, you mean?
That's
Yeah.
true. We did
Okay, yeah.
establish that.
So I'm super excited to announce something kind of cool.
What?
Cool.
We do have a year 9 happening.
What? Oh, check
Super
it out.
hyped.
Let's go.
You see our beautiful key art there. There might or might not be a lot of little things that you internet sleuths can like
Mhm.
go. So I would say like look at it, use it as your wallpaper, print it, put it all over your walls in your house, like go crazy, like inspect every little detail.
Tattoo it on your arm.
Yeah, everything. It's awesome. The art actually looks really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So super psyched. There's gonna be a lot more details coming as we kick off year 9
Yeah, of course.
in the near future. But I'm just super happy to be able to announce to people that we're gonna have it in year 9. Right?
So exciting.
It's always good to have. We've been working on a lot of stuff there, so I can't wait to show people what we have in store.
It's gonna be awesome. So yeah, keep an eye out for the next Warriors then for year 9, because that's what we'll be talking about year 9 stuff. So if you want to come back then, please do.
Always show up for Warriors then.
Always
Always.
show up for Warriors
Always.
then, please. Makes me happy.
Should like do everything you can to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, folks, we got an awesome show today. But first, let's check out this new gameplay trailer for the KHATUN. Super excited.
Let's rock.
Take it away, Max.
Vikings call us the armor. The samurai speak of Onkoku. And the knights. You think of something that can be fought. Ego. Darkness. Ally. Enemy. Call us what you want. Look upon us now. In the flesh. It's already too late. Your leaders have fallen. Your lands belong to us. You lost. Behold my peace. Now comes the age of the harpoon.
Welcome back, Warriors. What an awesome trailer that was. KHATUN looks incredible. I can't wait to get into all of it. Join with me today, as always, we've got Alex, Raph, Ian. How y'all doing?
Amazing.
Amazing?
Yeah,
Great.
I'm a bit panicked. It's
Yeah.
the Mongols.
Yeah, it's a bit scary, not gonna lie. But we'll get through it. Yeah, we'll get through it.
Will we? Will we? Let's hope.
I promise.
Let's
I
hope.
promise. Awesome. So before we get into everything, let's take a look at our seasonal roadmap first. So we got title update 1. Let's take a look at title update 2. We've got KHATUN'S piece, the free event pass starting January 23rd. Of course, our new hero, KHATUN, available tomorrow. We've got some hero fests for the Orochi, Pirate, and Griffin. And we've got a throwback event, Battle of the Eclipse, starting February 20th. Awesome. So first, why don't we do a quick recap of TU1, Ian? Just to help.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as people might remember from T1,
General Zhe invited Astria over for the ceremonial gifting of the Starfall sword, symbol of unity. He wanted to join forces with Horkos. But big surprise. You might not have seen this coming. I know no one saw this coming, but it turns out Zhe was kind of a snake.
What?
You know, right? That was cool. That was.
I like
yeah,
that.
So yeah, it was the serpent sword. Joe was dressed up as a snake, and it turns out. So yeah, he did not have the best intentions
Oh.
at heart. It turns out he actually had made a previous alliance with the HATUN'S, and so now, so yeah, he lured Astria in, but the HATUN'S had promised him something. He promised them something in return. So now he's opened the doors to Heathmore, the HATUN'S. So the HATUN'S have come in, took Astria by surprise. Big blow to Horkos. It's devastating. The army has been somewhat decimated.
Yeah.
And what happened to Astria? I don't know. We might talk about it later.
We shall see. I
Yeah.
mean, it was Starfall sword, and Astria means star. Maybe
Interesting.
seen it coming. Anyway,
I see it. I see it now.
yes.
Awesome. Raf, do you want to tell us more about who the KHATUN'S actually are?
Yes,
the archetype?
absolutely. So KHATUN'S are, of course, our new Mongol hero, Mongol-inspired. They are so KHATUN means it's a Mongolian word. It's the feminine form of Khan, maybe a better, or more used or more known. It means ruler or leader. We are using the Mongolian pronunciation, so a H, aspired H, rather than the K that would be used in Turkic languages, so neighboring language family. And these KHATUN'S are, of course, inspired by the Mongols, and especially the Mongolian Empire of the Mongol Empire of the 13th century. So at that point, their leader, Genghis Khan, and his family, in which a woman had a prominent position, they invaded and conquered an empire that stretched from Korea to Turkey and from Finland to Vietnam, modern countries. So yeah, it was a pretty big empire.
Yeah.
And it is our inspiration because you'll have both in the narrative, but also you'll see a lot of it in other elements of our assets. So these KHATUN'S, just like their historical counterparts in our lore, these KHATUN'S are invading. They are leading an invading horde from the steppes. They have long lived in the harsh environment of the steppes, and this harsh environment has sharpened them into brutal, deadly, nimble assassins. They are quite good at what they do, but for a long time, even though the other factions of Heathmore knew that there were some Mongols, some KHATUN'S somewhere in the steppe to the east, they did not really care about them. They were considered inconsequential barbarians because they were divided. They would raid from time to time because steppes, not a lot of resources, so they would have to raid. But yeah, it was in Mongolian lands, no one really cared. But recently this has changed because they have become unified by the singular and a bit twisted vision of their main leader, the KHATUN of KHATUN'S, the Queen of Queen or ruler of rulers, Gul'jin.
Ah, interesting. Okay, so thank you for explaining. That's contextualizing the trailer a lot more. Do you want to talk more about who Gul'jin actually is?
Yeah, actually, I can dive into that.
Yeah.
So, quick lesson. Gul'jin in Mongolian mythology was a demon who led a horde, an army in order to destroy and eventually rebuild. So we're kind of using that as a springboard for our vision of the KHATUN'S. Gul'jin, when she was young, as Raf said, she lived on the steppes, and eventually, let's say Blackstone-backed Mongols attacked her village.
Okay.
So she's felt the influence of the faction war. Her and her family, her tribe, or her village actually, were collateral damage essentially in the faction war. So she's seen, all the bad that it does. She's seen the senseless fighting from knights and Vikings and all that, and she's like, this needs to stop.
Yeah.
So eventually she grew into power. She learned how to fight. As Raf said, she eventually unified all the tribes, and now she has this army. And what she wants is to break this cycle, to
Yeah.
break the wheel. Bring out all of it to an end, and usher something new. So, in her mind, she's bringing this new piece to Heathmore, but it's a twisted version of
Yeah, of
peace,
course.
right? She has her own. Not say she has her own agenda, but she wants peace, but it comes at a price.
Yeah, I
She
mean, this
has
is a
a-
very complex individual. This is
Yeah,
someone I've seen a
is
lot.
a demon-named person who has demons, let's say.
Mm. Yeah. This is super interesting. I thank you for breaking that down.
Well, and the first set that we have as well really is her iconic set. This is what Gul'jin is. She has this mask that is setting her up as a bit of a match for Astria, who also has this iconic helmet.
Yeah.
And the mask in this case is trying to exemplify this sort of reserved threat. She doesn't need to raise her voice in order to inspire fear. She is inevitable. She brings this dread with her.
Yeah, she looks scary.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes. And then some of her other sets and variations are more about the archetype as a whole. So we see different aspects of Mongolian culture in those ones. We have some ceremonial variations. We have some that are inspired by wrestling, which is a large part of their the culture.
Yeah, really interesting part,
Yeah.
at least. And one of our inspiration is actually a warrior princess and wrestler princess of the 13th century that is mentioned by Iranian and Chinese sources, and even Marco Polo, an Italian traveler and merchant, who mentioned this princess called Hutulun, and she is one of our inspirations for this. I'm quite happy that you mentioned fear as a weapon, because the KHATUN'S, they have two sabers, Turco-Mongol sabers that they use, and of course it has served their role, cutting down any enemy that has presented before them. But their real weapon, their weapon of choice, is actually fear. They are coming from the steppes, and I mentioned that this is a unforgiving environment. So there aren't that many KHATUN'S actually, and they are tribe leaders, so they have people behind them. But yeah, there aren't enough of them to conquer the world and bring peace to it, whether you want it or not. So they cannot actually go from city to city or clan to clan or anything like that and destroy everything.
Right.
They have to make people submit. They have to use fear and the display of fear so that you will submit rather than fight. And this is reminiscent of actually the 13th century strategy of Genghis Khan and the Mongols. When you read sources and accounts from that time, there will be, building towers of skulls and having feasts on top of hills made of, they would bury alive some of their enemies and all that. But all of this was actually planned. There was a purpose to it. The Mongols would do these things and make sure that the next 50 cities know that this city has been razed to the ground, so that the next 50 cities would submit. And this is how they conquered, half of the world at the time. So this is something we wanted to take inspiration from. I would like also to mention one last thing on Gul'jin, our titular hero. When we started the process of thinking, conceptualizing this hero, we had a picture. It's coming from another source called The Secret History of the Mongols. There is a custom being described that at some point Genghis Khan wanted to punish a treacherous tribe. And so he, after victory, he had all of the remaining members of the tribe lined up against carts, and a sword was passed at the axle of the carts, and everybody who was tall enough died, and the small ones would survive. We imagine that Gul'jin her parents were tall and she was short, so she survived alone, wandering on the steppe, the unforgiving steppe, maybe with the blood of her parents on her.
Wow.
What does that do to someone?
Yeah.
Well, we imagine that maybe this is why she so wants to break this. She's bringing a new answer to the conundrum of For Honor, which is, how do you survive in a world that doesn't have enough resources so that everybody can survive?
Yeah.
You try to share, like Chimera would? Do you try to have the strongest survive? Or do you try to make sure that everybody submits, that we have peace now and no one else suffer the same thing that she suffers, whether you want it or not, and no matter the cost and no matter the violence and the people that I will actually have to kill so that I bring this? Yeah, it's a simple story, but I hope, we all hope that it's an effective and that you will enjoy this story.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that anecdote alone, I think, really, really contextualizes the hero, and even the trailer itself. Like seeing the brutality that she's displaying, it's like it's coming from somewhere. It's not just like, I don't know, blank. It's kind of like this deep-rooted thing inside of her.
There is purpose to the violence.
And it's also why, you know, she says, oh, you know, the Vikings call us the Arnar, the Japanese, the samurai speak of Ankoku.
Yeah.
You know, they have these. They have the wind behind them. You know, there's rumors about them. Their fear spreads before they get there, and that's how they gain so much influence rapidly.
Yeah.
Eventually.
I really like that kind of like the using like the fear as a weapon. I just, as a sidebar, we did see all the weapons. They looked incredible. They looked really, really nice. I'm sure everyone loved them. But thank you for,
But did
for
you
breaking
see
that.
fear?
I did feel scared a little bit.
Oh, I see.
Amazing. Thank you. Why don't we move on to look at the in-game realization? Yeah. So we've got the menu.
There she is.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
so
Astria.
that's what happened to Astria.
Yes, taken prisoner.
Oh,
Got our face off. Looking super cool. I love the red fog, like permeating throughout the environment. So nice.
yeah.
Backdrop there.
As you can see, the event team took the same map but changed pretty much everything in it to bring what has happened now that this cloud that was coming in.
Yeah.
What was hiding in the cloud?
Exactly.
Or the fog or whatever. And so, and now that they're here, what has happened?
Exactly. It's the aftermath.
Yeah.
Amazing. KHATUN looks incredible. I can't wait for everyone to try her out. KHATUN will be available for purchase tomorrow for $7.99. The hero will also be available for purchase through Steal 2 weeks from now for $15K. Moving on, we've also got a free event pass coming and will be available to play from January 23rd to February 13th. So why don't we check out some of the rewards?
Yes, a lot of the event pass this time is inspired by horses, which, as most people probably know, are an important part of steppe culture. And also they're very, very pretty.
They are pretty. Horses are pretty.
They're all threaded throughout a lot of the items in this event pass.
Yeah, look amazing. We got the mood effect here, Eternal Wanderer. We also take a sneak peek at some of the weapons, maybe. Can we see that? Oh yeah, here we go. These look super cool. I love the details on
The
these.
patterns on that one are really nice.
So these are Mongol-inspired patterns that we've expanded on different weapons and tried to apply to different cultures too.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank all of you for coming on and giving us all the breakdown of everything coming this title update. It was awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
But for you watching, stick around. We've got a deep dive for the KHATUN'S gameplay coming up next. But before that, we're going to be showing you all the lootable weapons for this event pass. So check it out. Welcome back, Warriors. We are now here to do a deep dive with Alex and Kiera. How are you both doing?
I'm doing great.
Alex, still doing
you.
good?
Good.
I just
Yeah.
saw you. So hopefully you're still doing good. Nothing bad happened. Awesome. So, why don't we just jump right into it? So, Kiera, you're our texture artist. Why don't you explain what a texture artist actually does?
Sure, yeah. So, texture artist is the person who puts the material and textures on the model. So, really, what I'm doing is applying cloth, skin texture, oil, dirt, dust. That's my job. But really, what I do every day is tell the character's story through what they're wearing. So, especially for KHATUN, she's someone that has an incredible story, as Raphael told us earlier. And I really wanted to show that through her materials. For example, the leather, right? She has an armor that's scratched and used and battle worn. And like you can tell that she's fought, but she takes care of it. She is meticulous with it. You can see that in the glove right there. There's a scratch, but you know, it's not too dirty. It's well taken care of. The metal is polished. Same thing with her helmet. There's a huge gash in it, but it's polished. It's taken care of. Though there's still dirt. It's still used. Yeah, and she's very she takes care of it. Shows her personality, her meticulousness, a little bit of how serious she is. And it's one of the characters too, which is great and different, that doesn't have too much dirt because, you know, For Honor, we love our dirty boys, girls. We love the dirt. But this one's a little cleaner. In the boots, we can see that, like, they're used, right? The leather is used, but it's cleaner. It's taken care of. It really shows who she is and how her personality, goes
Shows through her.
Yeah,
armor,
exactly.
I
It's
guess.
lived in.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
a bit of daily wear and tear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just your daily wear and tear, some slashes,
Yeah.
huge.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, we had Sav on last time to talk about the stages of creation. So at what point does like the texture artist come into play?
So I'm a little bit everywhere. We start off with the concept art, and then Sav gets it. So modelers will start doing their modeling, and then I get the character and I apply the textures. But afterwards too, when there's rigging, when we apply the materials so that the players can change the colors, I'm also there to make sure that things look good so that the colors are nice. The application of the right tones and stuff. So I'm a little bit in the pre-production, a little bit in the middle, a little bit in the post. So
Everywhere.
yeah, I got my fingers everywhere.
Nice. So what was it like actually working on the KHATUN? Like, were there specific, inspirations or references you used while designing like the textures for this character?
Yeah, so as we can see, she's a lot of leather. And a lot of the references I had to go get was different types of leather so that we can see the contrast between her her arms, the skirt, the boots, the chaps she has. So I got references like yak leather, cow leather, like where she comes from, what kind of animals can be used. And you can see it in the felt of the material. So when her gloves are worn, there's more of a orange tint or beige tint compared to her belt, where it's more of a desaturated look, right? Okay. So I had to go figure out all these animals where, you don't usually do that in your everyday life, look up yak skin. But yeah, and the different types of metals too. So that's that was the big challenge too, is to keep everything interesting while having pretty much the same material everywhere, right?
Really cool. And I just love like how detailed like everything about her armor is. Like you can clearly see like everything like that goes into it. It's super, super nice. Yeah. Did you have any like interesting like techniques or ways that you kind of like made these textures for this character, or was it primarily like revolving around like the like as you said, looking up different types of leather, like region based and stuff like that?
So it goes back a bit to storytelling, right? When I apply these materials, I start off by, this is a new piece of armor. Never worn it, first time ever. Then I look at how her arms are. So her shoulders, do they scuff against the chest plate? So scuff marks there. How she fights is if she's moving her arm like this a lot, I'm going to add more scuff marks.
Okay, interesting.
The straps, more wear and tear. So I apply layer on layer of wear and tear, and then I'm like, okay, well, today she had a really dirty day, so put a bunch of dirt and then clean it off, and then add a bunch of dirt and then clean it off. So it's a lot of layering to make it lived in.
Yeah, it feels like it's like coming to life essentially because you're creating it as if it was like as it was being used, it's like actually being used. So it's like really interesting. Even like with what you're mentioning about like the moving the arms and you put more scuff, I guess, like under it. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Alex, did you want to take a closer look at some of the armor sets?
Yeah, so we can take a look at those and look a little bit at their customization as well. So there's a lot of customization that you can do. The piping on here, the threading that we have all throughout it, a lot of that you can add a lot of color to. You can also add a whole bunch of color through outfits that you'll apply. We've got the ornamentation and the studs and the yak fur around her shoulders. Lots and lots of colors and lots of different masks as well.
Yeah, really, really cool. And again, I think I love all this because you could see like the stitching is like all changing colors. It's so nice, like super detailed. The fashion with this will be, people are gonna come up with some crazy stuff.
Well, and it was
for
something
sure.
that we were looking at too, with how the Mongols would actually assemble their armor. A lot of it was through different straps, and so we're trying to incorporate that a little bit.
It looks incredible. I love this one.
Yes.
All good.
Yes, and I like the leg guards on this one as well, which also you can
Super
see
nice.
are attached through straps.
Yeah, these look just incredible.
Yes.
This I like the helmet on this one. Like again, I think all of them generally just look scary, which is like kind of the intention behind it. But they look incredible. They look super nice.
There we go.
Here's
You
a
can
screenshot
see
of all of
some
them.
of the things that you can create.
Yeah, the fashion with it is gonna look. I can't wait to see what people cook. Honestly, it's gonna be great. We also have the battle outfit from the event pass had some pretty unique color customization that we could take a quick look here.
Yes, you can see how that applies onto her armor.
Super cool. Do a little spin. Nice.
I love watching her run and seeing the leather bounce.
Yeah, it's nice. Awesome. Well, thank you both for coming on and explaining everything. Did you want to give special shout outs to anyone? Thank yous.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me, and thank you to all the character team, every single one of you, riggers, modelers, animators, everybody. You guys are amazing, and we couldn't do this amazing character without any of you. So
yeah, amazing. Well, thank you both for coming on and breaking all of it down. KHATUN looks amazing. I can't wait to actually get in and play. It's going to be awesome. But yeah, stick around for you watching. We've got the gameplay next, doing a deep dive with Mr. JC and Mike and Nolan. So see you soon.
Welcome back, Warriors! All right, we are here to talk about gameplay for the new Hatun hero, and who better to talk about it than these two fine people joining me on the couch today? It's your Lord and Savior JC is back. Hello, welcome back.
Hello, hello. I haven't been here before. I always make that joke, and it always lands really flat.
You know, it's still funny.
Yeah,
me.
I guess.
Is it?
I'm happy. If it's funny to you, my
Just
job
please
is done.
keep doing it. Yeah.
All right, okay, cool.
You should start laughing then next time, just to prove it, just to prove it
man,
for everybody.
Yeah, that would
Called
be
me,
important,
you
yeah.
called me out, and here I am having to deal with it live on stream right now. But well, speaking of that, call outs, Mike, welcome back.
Thank
It's
you.
good to have you back on the couch with us as well.
Happy to be here. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a long time.
Has it been
It has been. It has been since Sohei.
since
Yeah.
Sohei?
It's
been a while.
It has been.
But I bring the goods.
You do bring
With
the-
JC, of
It's
course.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, we got a lot of good stuff to show today. All right. We're just vibing today. I love it. It's great. All right, awesome. Well, without further ado, then, let's dive into this. What
Yeah,
can you
right.
tell us about Hatun?
Yes. So, Mike,
right.
if you will.
Yeah. So this is KHATUN. Of course, you've seen her in the previous segments. She looks fabulous. Good job to everybody there. But let's dive into gameplay. I'm going to get straight into moves. So let's start with moves from neutral openers. So we'll start with of course the light attack. She has a light attack from all directions. Very nice. She has heavy attacks. Up all directions. As you would expect.
As is tradition.
As is
Yep.
tradition. As is tradition as well. She has a zone attack.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I'll do it on my side as long as people can see it.
There you go.
better
Yeah,
than
go
me.
for it.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Fantastic. And now let's look at the dodge attacks. We'll look at them earlier than we usually do. So she has side dodge attacks, side light dodge attacks. These are enhanced.
Nice.
So you can continue your chain, which we'll talk about in a second. And she has a forward heavy dodge attack. This is going to be important for later. as
Important to know that like the side dodges are on lights and the front is on heavy. There's a very good reason for this. I think we're gonna get into it a little.
We're going to get
It's gonna
into
be
it
awesome.
in a little second.
I like how you're setting them up.
Yeah, yeah,
Setting
yeah.
them up. All right. The anticipation. Just wait.
The very final one that I'll show here, just before we get into all the good stuff, is the sprint attack. This is on light attack.
Oh, it looks so
Yeah.
good.
Beautiful. JC, do you want to do that on me as
Yes.
well? Fantastic.
Looks amazing, yeah.
Looks amazing. Feels really badass.
And so now, before you go a little bit into the basic chains and all that, we're right. So we have, as we've been doing for a little while, it's a 2-hit chain hero, but with a lot of like little fun things.
Yeah.
We'll go a little bit more into detail as to why we picked some of these choices, but just like it's gonna be super interesting. So Mike,
Let's go.
let's go.
So we'll start again from the light attacks. So like JC mentioned, 2 hits chains. Light attacks can chain to every direction, of course. These are not enhanced. They get blocked
Yeah,
by
get
JC.
blocked.
Well,
Go.
here. I move to heavy attacks. Same thing. Heavy attack into heavy attack.
Pretty
all
simple, right?
directions. Pretty simple.
So by now you're like, oh, what is this hero, right? Like there's 2 swords. I don't know what's going on. You know.
What are you doing
pretty
to
cool.
us here?
So part of one of the main pillars that we've been working on, we've been wanting through this hero, and it's something that I think the community has been wanting for a long time. Soft feints, right?
Soft feints,
So
okay.
we haven't done like a really soft feint centric hero in a long time, but it also can't feel like our other like heroes that have a lot of soft feints, like Aramusha, for example, right? You would think, and I saw in chat a lot of people like even from the videos that we released this week. Go, oh, this is going to be Aramusha 2.0 potentially or whatever. It is not. And so, Mike, please go into what makes her unique here.
What makes her unique here? So soft feints, maybe just a very quick explanation of soft feints for the audience. Soft feints is not throwing an attack and cancelling it like I did there, which is kind of the usual thing that you do with.
Yeah, that's a hard
cancel.
feint.
That is a hard feint. When we talk about soft feint, it's throwing an attack, but throwing a different attack during the startup.
Yeah.
To essentially transition to that second attack there. So what JC is doing here, maybe that looks a bit clear. Maybe go from top to side there. JC throws a heavy attack and then soft feints into a light attack from the side.
Yeah, from a different stance.
From a different stance. Very important. It's not in the same direction.
Nope.
It's in a different direction.
Yeah.
So you can do that with heavy attacks. into light attacks, but you can also do that with heavy attacks into heavy attacks.
Oh, whoa.
Which is something new, right? We very rarely, like Kinsey has some soft feints into heavies, but this is the first time that we have soft feint into lights, soft feint into heavies, having like a lot of focus on this.
Nice.
But there's even more.
There's even more. So with soft feinting, there's a couple of things you can do. There's one part in the chain that I'll mention first, just before we jump into more soft feinting stuff here. Is I mentioned before we have a light, heavy, light, heavy chain. You also have a light chain with a bash in chain, but you need to soft feint your heavy attack. You can do this from neutral, but generally we've seen lots of players going into chain and throwing a bash. In this case, frightful kick. It's a kick, an unblockable bash. Coming from the soft feint.
Yeah,
nice.
And you can do this from neutrals as well. You can soft feint into this kick.
So the idea overall is that like anytime you soft feint with this hero and you go into either a light, a heavy, or that frightful kick, you always go to your finishers. So this means that I can do like technically heavy opener into heavy, soft feint into heavy, into heavy, soft feint into heavy, into soft feint into light, and do however you want. So you kind of have an infinite chain.
Yeah, like a pseudo.
As long as you use your soft feints constantly.
Nice.
So that's super interesting there because it adds like another dimension, right? It's not just a regular infinite chain, which is something, by the way, while we're developing the hero, we tried to give her at some point an infinite chain. And with all the soft feint options, it didn't really feel right. It was getting really complicated to figure out where am I at in my chain? What's going on? We tried a bunch of different things, 3-hit chains, all sorts of things. And we ended up focusing on this aspect because there's another part to her kit that we'll be seeing very shortly. Just part of the other thing that makes her really unique. But it's really interesting. One last thing before we get into the other little thing.
Yes.
I just want to hijack the animation presentation for half a second.
Good
because
point.
it looks too good. And I want to give them a massive shout out. Look at those stance changes. When you switch your stance from left to right, all the little flourishes, all the stuff that's been going, I'm taking over for them for a second there, but they know they have crazy props there. This hero, the animations look amazing. There's a lot of attention that's been paid also to the soft feints so that everything looks a lot more realistic. When we were designing the hero, working very closely with Vanessa's team to make sure that we had soft feints that looked believable. She has 2 weapons. We want to make sure that whenever you start an attack and you soft feint to something else, that it moves very, very, very seamlessly. So that's really important. It was really important for us.
Yeah.
And I think it's reflected really well in there. So it kind of fits with the whole soft feint team.
Yeah, exactly. So
What else is there that's kind of unique with this hero?
Now let's get to the first unique part. First, I mentioned that specifically. So this hero has soft feinting as kind of a dominant mechanic, but what makes her cool is you can soft feint into this move.
Yeah, I'm gonna go far away so you can show it like how far it goes.
Fear and Fury.
Yes.
So this is essentially soft feinting into a dodge if you're thinking about input buttons, but this is a special kind of move.
Yes, it's a very, very special kind of move.
If you've been paying attention, you would have seen the guard indicator show guard in all directions.
Yes.
This is of course an assassin, which means that if you attack an assassin at the right time during a dodge, she deflects.
Yes. So I'm gonna like throw a top heavy towards me. And I'll show it as regular.
Let me move a tiny bit back, top heavy.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So, assassin, right? Important to note. I saw people when they were seeing the gameplay trailer, screaming deflects in chat.
Yeah.
Yes, deflects. Yes, it's the first assassin, pure assassin that we've made in For Honor since Nusha, which is
since Best Girl Nusha,
right? So
Best Girl
we've been wanting
Hatun
to
now.
do assassins. We wanted to get back into making assassins using deflects. With the removal of reflex guard that we've done quite a while ago now. We've been getting more and more and more into like we can actually make assassins now. What kind of stuff we can do? So this is our first assassin for a long time.
Yeah,
super excited, and she has the flex, and so we wanted to, on top of it, make her special. And so what's interesting with that move there that we see that like she runs towards her opponent with Fear and Fury, the idea here is that it's not full block, it's full deflect. So similarly to what we've seen in the testing ground that we've done like not that long ago, right? With Peacekeeper, she has full deflect frames for the entire duration of that move as she runs forward. Any attack that could be deflected, so unblockables don't really count or whatever, but any attack that could be deflected will be automatically deflected. So Mike, if you want to try it out, like
do you want me to
yeah,
try the
just
attack? Yeah,
run
here
that.
we go.
See, so I hit her
Well.
inside of it. She did a deflect.
Nice.
That's already like that works for any side, anywhere. If there's people around that try to hit you while you're running, you will deflect them. You can do whatever deflect punishes. We'll go into that after that in a little bit.
Nice.
But you can get like anything there. So it's really, really cool that to really have that deflect synergy. She's an assassin. We wanted to go all in on deflects. It's also a pretty interesting move. You can target swap it. Clearly, 1v1, it's kind of, we're not going to really show it. But it's interesting to go, you can hit somebody, you can soft feint, and then target swap, run towards somebody else, get into the mix of the fight, and really running around like kind of crazy, so it's really interesting. The other part that's kind of cool with it is that you can soft feint into it, right? But you can also just chain into it after a light or a heavy. So because of this, it kind of gives her a lot of freedom into when do I use this kind of extender move? What can I do with it? How can I use it offensively, defensively as well? It's kind of the designer that was working on it, Noel, big shout out to Noel, by the way, wanted to make something that was really attack as you defend and defend as you attack type of thing, but not in a conventional way that we typically have in Fortnite. It's not a superior block. It's not crushing counters or anything. It's I'm committing to a big forward dodge that has a lot of potency that makes people scared, and it also ties in with her lore, right? We were listening to Raphael earlier, and stuff, and a lot of it is about like controlling people through fear. I don't know about you, but if I was on a battlefield and this crazy person with two massive swords started running towards me, I'd be a little bit scared.
Get out the way.
She's
Yeah.
very confident in that run. So
All right. So then, Mike, you want to run us through
Let's,
what we can do? Because
what
it's
we
not
can
just
do,
a
yeah,
run, right?
Of course.
If it was just a run, you'd be like, whatever. But what
that's
can we do
okay.
out of this run?
So out of this run, you can chain, right? So let's go. That's default run, Fear and Fury. Out of this Fear and Fury, you can do a light attack. There we go. Oh, let's. I'll do it from top.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So hop. There we go.
You can do
Big
it.
slash.
So,
I can do this from side as well.
So another big aspect that we have here that Mike is going to show us is it's really interesting that we wanted to really push the stance-based aspect of this as well, right? It's not just, I run, I do something. It's I run, I pick a stance, I do an attack. So you have light, you also have zone attack that you can do as well.
Yep. So we'll
That is a pretty quick zone attack there.
Fly the zone, throw the zone attack out. There
Right,
we
so
go.
a big zone attack hits people around. That's really good. But then, so already you have like a bunch of different options. But you can do the light from any different stance. The light also chains more into. You can go into back into Fear and Fury.
Nice.
You can kind of have like a lot of like running around there. What I would suggest is it's pretty strong, but it can actually be really countered. So we're not gonna go into crazy details here because I want to get people a bit of a chance to explore.
Sure.
But at the same time, we've carefully thought out the duration of these things, and I would say experiment with them a little bit. It might look like, I'm going to just do like, run light, run light, run light. That does not necessarily work as well as you would think it does. There's ways to counter it. We've put a lot of thought into how do you counter it, but how do you counter the counter as well? We have like a lot of thought put into it, but it's really it's a question of what can you do with those different situations. If you land a heavy and you do Fear and Fury, you get different frame advantages that if you land a light and you go into Fear and Fury. So there's a lot of thought that was put towards this to really make it super efficient.
Ultimately, this gives you lots of options.
Yeah, exactly, right?
So many options.
The breadth of it is like the basis is we want to give players a lot of options.
Yeah.
To have a lot of player expression. How do you want to play her? What do you want to do? That's good. But then there's one button. I think I saw you do it.
No. You didn't see me
How
do
would
it.
you
You didn't
spoil
see me
that?
do it.
But there's one more button that you can do while you are running. Actually, there's two more, but we'll show. Like you can also like just to show you can also like dodge out of it.
Yep.
So if you do,
You go that, go in, you can dodge
you
cancel.
can dodge cancel out of it. So like if something happens and like if a bash is coming at you, you can like dodge out of it and you can do like a lot of interesting things. That's kind of weird.
Nice.
But then
Let's go.
what do you do with that heavy button now?
What did I do with that heavy button? So that heavy button leads us to the second unique
Yes.
called Bloody Wrath. Very aptly named. It's an unblockable pinning move that comes out of Fear and Fury.
Yeah. And in any stance, right? So it's like left, right,
Any
top.
stance.
Similarly, a little bit, if you've played Pirate, she has something a little bit similar, but we really pushed it to the extreme where she uses her sword to impale, and she can kind of use her gun or push back. But instead of just going, we have like this, whatever, there's a lot more options with her.
Once
right? So
more.
why don't you run us through them?
More options is always good. So let's go. We'll pin you. And I can follow up with the light attack.
Yeah,
Very quick
super
light attack.
Yeah, very fast. Kind of ties in with her feats that you'll see in a little bit. But sometimes you want to do a light if you're in a group fight, if you're in any kind of situation where like, oh, I can't get stuck in that animation really quickly.
Yeah.
Throw out a light, you get out of it super quickly.
Fantastic. Next, you can pen and go into a zone attack.
Oh.
This is an armored zone attack.
Yeah.
You cannot be interrupted with it. An uninterruptible stance.
Yeah.
This is also useful in team fights.
Yeah, exactly, right? So if you want to deal a little bit more damage, people around you, whatever, works quite well. But then there's another one.
So you pen somebody, and now you want to finish them off with a heavy finisher follow-up off of that Bloody Wrath. And this does big damage.
Yeah, it does big damage, pins for quite a long time as well.
Yeah.
Looks amazing. Like, honestly, like our VFX team, our animation team, again, outdid themselves. Like, the big blood splatter, everything.
Yeah.
You feel like she's, getting there. And again, that's part of how we design these moves is from the fear aspect, right? The idea here is that she does this not because she's cruel, because she wants to be, like, violent or whatever, or she absolutely wants to kill that person, but it's also to scare people around her.
Yeah.
Because, again, if you're in a fight and you see her doing this, you're like, what? I don't really want that to happen to me. So it plays into that fear aspect as well, which is super important for this hero. And it also ties in with feats as we go along the further out.
Indeed.
So I don't want to spoil too much there, but that's pretty interesting.
And I thought it was cool. You mentioned the VFX on it too. Did I see some blood splatter on the screen?
You saw blood splatter on the screen.
That is a nice touch.
Let me just soft feint correctly here. Up. Blood splatter on the screen. Nice curvature in the blood there on the side.
That's awesome.
Very
really
nice.
So
quickly before the feats, though.
Yes.
Before the feats, we have a couple of other ways we can get into this move.
Yes.
Because we did talk about the deflect earlier.
Yes. So that's another part of what's interesting with this hero is that Bloody Wrath as a move by itself, it's interesting. It's a pin. It does all the different things. That's pretty cool. But we wanted to go again hardcore all in with this.
Yeah.
And to make it an integral part of her moveset. We didn't want to go, you have to do Fear and Fury to be able to do Bloody Wrath. It's pretty cool, but it's not really like the thing that we absolutely need to do. So it's also available in a lot of different situations.
Nice.
So for example, like you can
I'll throw it top heavy, and you can start with the first one there.
So on deflect, you get it. Like, so I maxed it down, so you do it again, so I can show like a different follow-up there. So every time you deflect, either from a normal deflect on the side or off of Fear and Fury, you can always go into Bloody Wrath, which is pretty cool. You also get it off of what else?
Guard break.
A guard break, right?
Successful guard break on somebody puts you straight into that Bloody Wrath, and you have all the follow-up.
Exactly. To note here, because I'm sure there's people in chat going, oh, this is way too OP. Don't worry too much about it. Every single version of Bloody Wrath that we're seeing, so the one that is off of Fear and Fury, the one that's off Deflect, the one that's off of Guard Break, and there's two other ways to get into it, they all have different initial damage values so that we can balance them accordingly. So that, for example, the one off of Guard Break, if you do the Guard Break and you do the heavy follow-up, then what ends up happening is you deal like a little bit more, or like typical damage for a Guard Break. But if you do it off of Fear and Fury, you deal more. If you deal it off of a parry or a deflect, you deal different amounts of damage. So that's really important to know here that yes, there's a lot of different ways to go into it, but at the same time, the initial damage of the initial hit from Bloody Wrath is different depending on the situation.
Nice.
So we also have it off of a parry, right?
Parry. So let me throw a top parry, top heavy for you there.
Right.
You
Okay.
you can follow up on that.
Yeah. So here, there's something that's interesting here, right?
Yep.
So off of a heavy parry, it's not guaranteed. So we can do it again. I'll do it and you can dodge it, right? So it's dodgeable. Off of a light parry, however it is, you can do a dodge attack to me, for example. So
Side dodge attack.
Yeah,
Yeah,
side
yeah,
dodge
yeah.
attack.
Here we go.
Right, so off a side dodge attack, it's fully guaranteed. So again, you get good stuff there. It kind of works. That works really well. Again, really well off of a parry. Off of a heavy parry, you can still get a light. That's good. The other thing that's interesting is that, just to mention, off of Guard Break, if you don't want it to have the entire time of it, because this is a pin, it takes a while. It's interesting. Yeah. You can still zone attack and get the full 24 damage that you would normally get, right?
Oh, nice.
So we still thought it out to make sure that we have the whole setup here that works, that makes sense with damage values, what we have with other heroes and stuff. So that's kind of interesting here. So that's about it for her moveset in general, right? We're gonna go towards feet.
I'll set that up, so I'll leave it to you
Yes.
to fill the void a bit.
Yeah. So thank you, Mike. So
So
a lot of the stuff we've been talking about, right? So we've
Yeah.
been working on this hero for quite a while now. We know the hero quite well. We faced a lot of challenges building this hero, right? We have a soft feint hero. It's not the easiest thing to build all the time.
Sure.
Want to make sure it's balanced. We also wanted to make a hero that was not particularly easy to play as, right? There's a lot of options. There's a lot of room for player expression, so it's super interesting.
Yeah.
We also tried a lot of different things. I won't go into too much details because it's going to go necessary. But we tried a lot of different aspects, and not everything always worked out because this is normal and it's For Honor. And sometimes you go, I wish there was this, that. Doesn't mean we didn't try stuff, but also at the same time, it's like we need to make it fit within what's in For Honor, and it makes sense. So we ran into a small snag, so we can give this to our amazing person here. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
that is cool. And so, so where do you see like the inspirations we have for her? Obviously, first assassin in a long time.
Yeah.
And obviously we see these kind of like cool like pinning maneuvers that she has. So where do you maybe see her in regards to like the team comps and other areas like that?
Yeah. So in terms of team composition, because she has like pins, she has actually a really good access to that pinning move, right? To Bloody Wrath. What's interesting here, thank you. What's interesting here is that like she pairs really well as a gank initiator. So heroes that have a lot of big damage from neutral. I'm talking like maybe Shigoki, Itokiri, that kind of stuff where you can actually like guarantee a lot of damage off of an ally pin. Those work really, really well. She's really good to set these things up. So she works really, really well with these heroes. She works well with like a lot of different team compositions. Again, big trajectories on her attack, so she hits a lot of people around her. She might be good. She's gonna be pretty good at stalling as well, so you can get into good points and stall people to get into where you need to go. So she's a much more universal hero, but again, she's pretty tough to use effectively. So take your time when you're playing with her. Get into what you need to get into, and really flesh out, understand the moveset. She's not the easiest hero to play, but there's a lot of really cool things that you're going to get into that are amazing here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, cool. So we can look at feats now, right?
All right,
Let's
take a
go.
look.
Awesome. All right, so
right.
Mike.
So we're looking at feats now. I want to give a caveat. Like we've messed with cooldowns, especially for one of the feats.
usual.
That's
It's not just an instant thing, and we'll talk about that.
Even
in
then,
a
only the fourth feat as a cooldown, and we'll tell you what the actual cooldown is going to be.
Exactly.
Nice.
So let's start with feat 1. Feat 1 is a passive feat that you unlock. It's called Relentless. Now, we talked about soft feints a lot in this hero. You will be using soft feints a lot when you're playing KHATUN. Soft feints cost stamina. However, once you unlock the Relentless feat, the first one, it has no cooldown. It's a passive feat. No more stamina cost for your soft feints.
Yep.
Nice.
So that's really interesting, right? Because we want her to rely on those soft feints quite a bit to open up opponents. Typically, when you have soft feints, you have a lot of stamina costs associated to them. So because we want this hero to have like a bit of an easier time, and we want to encourage you to go into soft feints, then this feat essentially just goes, you pay the initial cost. So if you want to soft feint into a light, into a kick, also which is interesting because usually those bashes cost a little bit more stamina, right? You always only pay the 12 cost up front for the heavy, but not the initial, not the extra cost for whatever you soft feint into.
Which means more soft feints.
Exactly.
All right.
Soft
I
feints.
like it.
Now, as usual, with all our new heroes, we want to make sure that the feats are synergizing with each other and the kit, right? Feat 2 is once again a passive feat called Brutal, and the way it works is when I land follow-up attack off of my Bloody Wrath, so off of the pin move, my damage is increased by 20% for 10 seconds. This is it's a passive feat. It doesn't have cooldown. It doesn't reset immediately, so you will kind of have to wait it out and reperform. That's a hard word to say, actually. Reperform the move to get that buff as well. So you see the glow on the hands. You'll see the damage increase icon there in the health bar.
Yeah, so
She
what's
has
interesting,
to commit to that.
she has to commit to it, and then it doesn't last for super long. And like you said, you can't refresh it. This is part of what I was saying. Like it triggers off of light, zone, or heavy follow-ups, right? So sometimes you might want to go, oh, I just want the damage buff quickly. I'm going to do a quick one, go into light, works super well. You still get it regardless, but the idea is that like you, again, to play into player choice, get into what we need to do. Super interesting, works quite well there, so that's really good.
Nice.
Also, it plays into, sorry, just to say, it plays into that fear aspect as well, right?
Right.
We're talking about fear again. The idea here is she lands that Bloody Wrath, does something, scares people around her. She feels like you're kind of worried, oh wait. And then she ends up being stronger to make you more afraid to play against her. That's a big part of what we're building with these identities, with the type of things, which is super interesting in my opinion.
That's cool.
Exactly. And then moving on with fear, what goes with fear? It's intimidation.
Yeah.
And that is the name of feat 3. The way it works is whenever you kill an enemy, you will gain a, let's call it a fear aura.
Yeah.
An aura around you. It lasts for 10 seconds. It's stuck to you, so you can move around with it. And anybody inside, any enemy inside that will take 25% more damage. So it's an 8-meter aura. I will have to kill you to demonstrate this.
Please kill me.
So, oh, actually, let me.
I'll go side.
This is like our PlayStations, JC.
Yeah.
Just try not to die. Let me just help throw you in.
All right.
Where we can see. Okay.
So you see, yeah. So
See
there's a big
VFX.
AoE around you. There's that stuff that's going on there. I'm just be running back really quickly.
I will run towards you. Oh, showing off only JC abilities.
Yeah.
There we go.
I have a special god mode in this game that I can do whatever I
Oh,
want. So
that's
that's why I
what-
don't play live. It's
I see.
This
I
is
see. It
also
wouldn't
the
be fair
only
otherwise.
way JC plays PlayStation.
Yeah, that's it, right? So, but that's the thing, right? So this feat, again, it plays on the fear aspect, right? You kill somebody, everybody around you goes, oh.
Yeah.
And then you get lower, you increase the damage you take, right? So it's a defense debuff. Those two feats, so feat 2 and feat 3, work really well in tandem.
Yeah.
Essentially, you hit somebody, you get your damage buff, and you kill somebody, you defense debuff everybody around you, and then she becomes like an insane killing machine. She does like 45% extra damage, essential on everybody around her for 10 seconds.
Right.
Very, very, very strong, super interesting. Not super selfish, so the feat 3 is really not selfish at all. You really help out your entire team.
Right.
So you land this, if she kills somebody in a group fight, everybody's happy.
Right.
She's one of the few heroes
Everybody's
that,
happy.
Right.
you know, like, when you play the game, you play any game, and you want to, you want to kill steal because you're like, I'm going to kill steal.
Yeah.
Please don't do that with her
Yeah.
because then it'll actively hurt you.
Yeah.
It's always beneficial that she gets the final hit on somebody when that feat is unlocked. Every single time, let her do it.
Nice.
Very cool. And then finally, feat 4, right? So we're trying something really, really, really different for a 4th feat.
This is another spicy one, fresh from the GE team. It's called Ultimate Punishment, and JC kind of alluded to it before. There's one more way to get access to your Bloody Wrath, and that is unlocking feat 4, pressing that button, and then very quickly doing a lot of damage.
You do it straight from neutral. Again, it's something that's kind of interesting. It matches the stance you're in, which is the first time we're doing this.
Yeah.
So if you're in left, top, or right, it's going to do the Bloody Wrath in that move, in that stance. And it's parryable. It's 400 MS though, so like 400
very
MS
quick.
neutral.
That's pretty quick.
Good luck.
Pretty much unreactive.
Like I don't think anybody is able to do that on
Yeah.
reaction. No offense to like our amazing pro players. That is really, really stretching it.
Yeah.
What's also cool, Mike, is what's the cooldown on this?
The cooldown of this is 45 seconds, and that's unusual for.
It is very unusual, right? So typically when we do feat 4s, we do these big bombastic feats. You can think Fire Flash.
Right.
You can think Catapult, right? All sorts of things that we do, like Hitokiri's for 4th feat that like kind of instant kills you. So we typically do really crazy big feats on tier 4. But for this, we're trying something different. And I want to get people's opinions. I'm going to go on Reddit, clearly, because I
Sure. Yeah.
love to run Reddit.
We love it.
But I want to see what people think about this specifically. Do you like to have a tier 4 feat that has it's a big impact on the game regardless, but it's a less explosive feat on a much shorter cooldown that you can use really often?
Yeah.
It's something that we've seen players kind of ask for once in a while. So it's something that we're trying out with this hero. At the same time, it fits super well with her feat, with her kit, with everything. And then again, you want to gank somebody, you just do this 400 MS, unblockable from neutral, really, really, really like hard to react to. Can set up a lot of damage, can set up a lot of good stuff, and it's available really, really often.
Yeah.
That's
Right? It's
awesome.
not like it's not the tier 4 you're gonna throw twice in a game, right? You're gonna
Yeah,
do it like
yeah.
really, really often.
There you go. Very cool. Very.
That's the kit. Those are the feats. They are all meant to synergize with each other, so we're looking really forward to seeing what crazy things people do, especially in team fights.
And as I said before, like I'm super hyped with this hero. Honestly, we can put our controllers down.
Holding this lock button.
But yeah, right.
We'll stop playing.
So I'm super excited. I think that she brings aspects and gameplay to Fortnite that we've never really had before, right?
Yeah.
That move where you run towards your opponent, you have your full deflect. We've never really done that before. We've had moves that run. We've had a Fira that has like your shield in which she runs, but it's on a feat. You can't really do it super often. With her, it's built in her moveset.
Yeah.
We haven't done an assassin in a while, which is super cool, like I mentioned
On
earlier.
time. Yeah.
We haven't done a hero that has access to this many soft feints on a consistent basis, right? You have it off of front dodge, you have it off of your opener heavies, off of your finisher heavies. So there's a lot of options there as well. So we really want to have a hero that has that skill expression, that player expression. At the same time, she's hard to play.
Yeah.
We know she's hard to play. She's not like a pick up and do whatever. Soft feints are always a bit trickier to play against, but at the same time, it does feel fair. You can block them, you can do a lot of stuff. She doesn't have a front dodge bash. You're still gonna have to do front dodge heavy into kick. You get a bit more of a tell on it. You get a lot of stuff that can happen. You can bait opponents in a lot of different ways. Where you can play with frame advantage. There's so much that you can kind of learn and get to with this hero. I've seen. We have like you're gonna see content creators post things soon on social media. I'm assuming. I've seen some of what they've been working on in terms of like punishes and stuff that were all like really intended. Where there's a lot of creative ways that you can use her moveset to go into what you want to do. So I'm super psyched about this. It's a very, very different hero. Something that I know players have been asking for in terms of like gameplay mechanics with soft feints and stuff. Having another assassin. I remember like people were going nuts for deflect, so that's great. So really like super excited. Please play her. Give us your feedback again. But it's super awesome. And then so man, finally, big shout out to the whole team, right, Mike?
Massive shout out to the whole team. I'll start off with the GDs, of course. Noel and Sebastian, great work on the hero, and everybody that, of course, supported us. You've already seen some of them. The arts team, the animation department, VFX, audio, GPP support, because there were lots of things that we tried to put into this character that to make it work, and we got somewhere that is really fun to play. I can't wait to get this in players' hands. So I'll be playing tomorrow.
Oh yeah, for sure.
sure.
And really, like you said, like shout out to everybody you mentioned. Definitely like the art team, animation team, VFX, everybody. Like we had amazing people before with Alex and Kiara. So it's a big team effort, right? It's not always simple. It takes us a while to make new heroes to really get them to a point where we're happy. And it's super cool. I want to give like special thanks to Noel and Seb, who were the two game designers that were in charge of this hero tirelessly. Seb joined us a year ago. He was supposed to be on the Warriors Den today. Unfortunately, something came up and he couldn't be here. But they worked tirelessly. Super awesome. Really good job for them. We're really, really happy. And we have this amazingly cool looking hero that has unique things. And I can't wait because we have Vanessa's and a new face segments like coming up.
No spoilers.
But no spoilers. But really, like everybody worked super hard. And again, like big ups to everybody. It's amazing. And I hope our players are gonna like it. Please play her.
Yeah, for sure. So thank you so much, JC. Thank you, Mike, for being here, for going through this incredible move kit, feats, all this fun stuff with this new hero. Warriors, listen up. Tomorrow, she's out. You can play her yourself, so we hope you join us on the battlefield then. But stick around because we're going to do a deep dive into some of the more animation components of this hero. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, Warriors. Super
Yay.
excited to be able to do a deep dive on the animation.
Yes.
Join with me today, Vanessa, and a new face, Nawel. How are you both doing?
Great.
Great,
Yeah.
very excited.
Super
Excited.
Nawel, you've never been on. Do you want to introduce yourself first?
Yes, sir. So, first of all, thank you for having me on the coolest couch in town. My name is Nawel. I've been working on For Honor as a gameplay animator for almost 5 years now.
Wow.
So, work on a lot of content and heroes, and here I am today for KHATUN'S.
Super exciting. Let's just jump right into it. You know, this hero has some of the most brutal
Yes.
executions I think we've ever seen. Some awesome animations.
Yep.
Why don't you tell us about the process of what creating this hero was
There's
like?
a lot of animation.
Yeah.
in this hero, in this hero. But yes, she's as you saw in the beginning with Raf and Jan, like the her background for us made like we decided like she's gonna be brutal. She's
Yeah.
gonna have brutal animation. You saw them in the gameplay segment. So yeah, she has a bad guy energy.
Yeah.
And that was
Sure.
the motto when we designed the animation. By the way, I brought the props from mocap.
Oh,
So let me bring them up.
these are cool.
Look at that. I touched both end of screen.
These are
Those
massive.
are real
It's
size.
life size?
Life size. I mean, yeah, the size of the weapon
Mm.
in the game. They're pretty big. They're her hero.
Yeah.
but,
This is cool.
yeah.
Can I hold them?
Don't hit
I
one
won't. I
part.
won't attack anyone.
You cannot impel anyone. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Super cool. I'll lay them down
Yeah.
here.
So there you go. So we have the props here. And yeah, like GC was mentioning, Saffaint
Yeah.
is a pretty huge deal
For
for
sure.
this hero. And it was a pretty huge deal for us as well because we need to plan ahead when we have to do all those animation. Because you saw that she has 2 weapons, Saffaint, attack, no, on this one, on this one.
A lot of options.
Lot of options. When you start typing them down, like right stance, right attack, Saffaint, left stance, when you start like, oh yeah, it seems easy, but when you start like detailing all of that,
Yeah.
it's getting confusing. So we're gonna show you something that we don't often show. This is a planning that we do when we go to
Super
mocap.
cool.
This might not be reflective of the gameplay fight kit. I think it is, but sometime we need to just plan ahead and make sure we have everything that we need. And yeah, to produce all the animation. So you can see here, it was pretty confusing because, again, like I was saying, you do an attack, and the rule that we decided was to, depending on the stance that you are, this is your main weapon. Like right stance, the main weapon will be right. So first an opener like this, and the soft feint on the other end, and so on. I'm just trying to explain, and I feel like I'm gonna get confused because it was very confusing. So that's why we made that. And yeah, even for her, like even for Hatun, it was pretty confusing. For the it's one of her emote, by the way. You can see that the little blue and red sword as well represent the mocap, because for the actors, again, we need to do the animation, to record them, and that was very helpful.
So this acts kind of like a loose script, I guess, that you follow when you're actually doing like the mocap.
Yeah, basically, because we need to make sure we have everything.
Yeah.
And even beyond some time, because we don't know what GC and his team will do sometimes, so we have to plan ahead and try to he's laughing in the back and to plan ahead what can come up. So yeah, a lot of animation, but it was fun. I mean, she looks
really
amazing. Yeah,
it looks super cool, and it's really interesting to see like how it actually, like how you break it down into like a bunch of different moves. It's really interesting. It's awesome. Something we saw in the last segment was the rush move that I almost ran into the camera with. Do you want to break that down a bit more for everyone?
For sure. So for this one, it was quite challenging on our side, because when we went at the mocap, we had instructions and some constraints to follow for this one. And when we received the raw data, we kind of feel it didn't fit with her, because as I mentioned, the constraint at the mocap was to have the weapon close to each other and near the upper body, because since she's an assassin, she can deflect, right?
Yeah.
So we needed that. And so we saw it on the raw data, and we wanted maybe to try something else. And what is interesting for us to show you that, not no, no.
Stay on the other one.
So yeah, as I said, what I find interesting by showing you that is the fact that when we go at the mocap, our reality is at that moment isn't necessarily the same when we receive the data. So when that happens, we need to adapt ourselves. And yeah, so for this one, we tried many variations, and like Max showed up, we we tried the shoulder bash on her because we like the feel of the wardens.
Yeah.
Very much. So we tried to transpose that onto her and to see if we're on a good track with this one or not. And even with this test, we weren't satisfied enough.
Didn't feel like it resonated with the
Yeah,
character.
It's all about feels.
Yeah.
It's all about feels. When we played animation, we heard the guy say it when they were playing, it feels good. That's what we're looking for.
That's what you're going for.
And like the movement wasn't responsive enough. So we had many other discussion with this with the team, and one day we came up with the image of a bull. So a bull, it's menacing, posing.
This is where I come in.
Yeah,
That's where you come in.
there you go. And also the horns of a bull can remind us the beautiful shape of her Turco-Mongol sabers. So we said, okay, maybe it sounds a little crazy, but let's test something with this idea and we'll see. So we made a pass, we integrated the animation, and we played it. And finally, we like the feel of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And once in game, dressed with the VFX, and you can see the wind through her clothes and the sound on it. I think at that moment we knew that we managed to create the perfect rush for her. Yeah.
Super cool in game.
Very menacing.
Yeah.
It does look like a bull. Now that you mentioned it, it does look
you
like
see
a bull.
it great.
Cool. Thank you for breaking that down. Something we also saw in the last segment, and we even saw it in the gameplay trailer too, was the iconic move. I won't reenact it again. But, I would love to know more about that in particular. This one.
Yes. So the iconic move. I loved working on this animation. We learned a lot from it, and like the rush, it was very much about the feeling as well. We wanted something brutal, but we also wanted that those who see the movement can feel it as much that those who hold the controller. And with this 2 long swords, we needed a moment when she just skewers her opponent, and we did it not just once, but twice. And I think it feels very great with the camera shake on it, the blood trails on the sword, the sound, the crunchy sound on it as well. So I think it all creates the apotheosis of her iconic move.
It looks super cool.
And since the weapons are really long, it was quite difficult sometimes because you want to see your weapon, but they're so long and she wind back, and so we need to adjust the camera doing back and forth on that, so it feels perfect. So
It
players
looks,
gonna feel it.
The final product looks
You do it, and if you receive it, you're gonna feel it. That's
for sure.
I think I wanted to ask more specifically about that, and like you're talking a lot about like something that feels good. Can you expand more on that? Like, how do you actually make something that feels good? I feel like it's subjective, maybe a lot of the time.
Very subjective. Yes, it's something that it's hard because you cannot really explain it.
You
have to feel it.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And it's more about gameplay animation is all about that. It's about the feel. You have the controller in hand. It's not just the animation needs to look good, because sometimes in the software it looks good. You put it in game, doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah.
Because you need to. Sometimes you cannot explain it. Sometimes the animation needs to be a little bit broken when you sit like outside of the game, but when you have it in game, it punch a pack and it's like, oh yes, now I feel it. And you can work with the VFX team, adding rumbles, having the sound, the VFX, all of that makes it even better. But the feel is, and take a look, and I will be curious to see which move and which animation feels the best to player.
They've got some crazy executions to look at. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the executions are really good too.
There's some nuts executions that they can show.
Yeah, so feels is, like you said, it's pretty. It's an emotion. Almost,
yeah, for sure. It's like the combination of like all the different aspects all together, like the camera shake, like the camera zoom. I forget what it's called exactly, but like when you're like kind of like executing someone and like the camera's like zooming in a little bit at the same time. Like
you
adding
go
that
into
emphasis,
the action. Yeah, basically. Yeah. And we always like in the back of the character, you live the thing. So feeling is crucial for us. So it's part of our. We have to make it feel good.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank you both for coming on and giving us more insight into like the production side of things for the animation, because it's super cool. I love being able to see like all like the raw data and stuff, and to like seeing it from that turning into what it is now is just like incredible. So it's super cool. So thank you both.
Thank you.
Did you want to give shout outs to anyone to say what's up?
Just a big shout out to everyone who
Whole
worked
team?
on this one.
Honestly, it's a big team effort. Everybody like mentioned it before, but it's a big team effort to end up with that. So
For sure.
props to everybody and to the player that will play
Yay,
it
yay.
and enjoy it
course.
as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. And folks, stick around because up next we have a music analysis segment, which is pretty cool. It's not something we usually do. So it's very exciting. So stick around.
Welcome back, Warriors! All right, we are happy to dive into this really cool segment that we do not get to do very often. So I'm very excited we get to bring it back for the end of year 8. because I think it's one of the coolest parts of the game, and I know a lot of you out there too. But yeah, it's the music and the audio for that. So who better to talk about that than these amazing guests with me today? We have Raph joining us back on the couch. Hi, Raph.
Yes, I do singing and I do the voices.
He's gonna sing. He's gonna sing the entire thing. Don't worry
Throat
about
singing,
it.
especially.
Just,
Yeah,
it's his specialty. Like we just confirmed just now. We're gonna
yes.
put you on the spot. No, we have Carl as well, our audio director on this, and for the first time in quite a while, Mr. Luc Saint Pierre is back with us today. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, folks, if you didn't realize, like we build kind of these huge musical thematics that span the entire year, and there's so much work that goes into that. And again, it's really just done by these amazing people here, and then again, a lot of support goes into it, but like. Just so much detail and is always involved, and we know that you appreciate that a lot because we often see it about how hard these tracks slap or whatever the kids are saying nowadays. But yeah, just we want to get a really nice perspective on year 8 and see how that goes. Now, Raph, you were here I think last time, and you were talking about kind of the narrative of the entire year and how we started year 8 with this idea of the weapons and brought it all the way through this storyline. But we did something very similar with the music too, right? So where should we start? Like,
well, I'm not actually here because I throat sing. At least not here.
You lied to me.
I'm here because I think I really enjoyed GC's segment where he was talking about how we start with some keywords, some impressions that we want to convey, and then each department has to try to work from their own perspective to bring it into the hero. And it is the fact also in the case also with audio, of course, and narrative supports audio in this. This is why I'm here, actually, to support you both, gentlemen. So let's try to remember what was season 1. This has been the year of being forged in war. This is something that, of course, Guljin, our new hero, has been. But the idea was that we would go back to the origins of For Honor and try to explore the core values of each of the factions. And we started with the Knights, with the Sword of Ashfeld, our first season. The core values of the Knights, the ones that we were trying to explore, are honor, duty, sacrifice for weaker people. And one really important aspect that we wanted to convey was nostalgia. So how did you manage to bring that up in that season?
Yeah, thanks, Raph, for the good summary. So, yes, the nostalgia was really important for us. So, quickly, the music is a really strong lever to bring the listener to past memories, feeling, emotion. So, an example, 10 years ago, I did a travel. In this travel, I was listening a music album all along. Then now, 10 years later, when I'm hearing this album again, it's bringing me exactly in the mood of this travel, the same kind of feeling. So, on For Honor, which track could do exactly this kind of nostalgia feeling? So, the Night music theme is a really good one to do this feeling. It's bring chivalry value, the honor, the weak protection, and in the same time, this For Honor was live since 8 years. It's something really amazing. So it's led us to bring a bit this kind of epic feeling in the main theme and highlight a bit the weak protection. So all that together, it lead us to change the main theme, be really closer the original one, but change like the end of the main theme to a bit more weak protection, slightly more epic, and keep the beginning close to the nostalgia feeling. So, look, you work really hard to stay really close that.
Yeah. I understand also that the players were very attached to this original theme. So it was also a task that I had to really keep it as close as possible. Also to make them think for a while that, hey, this is the original. They brought back the original, but then we take them just a bit somewhere. We kind of deviate and revisit the cue of the time. And it was not a super easy task because some instruments were, I didn't know what they used. So just by listening to this theme, this on the violin or something, I had to do some experiment. I even called my the alti player that I work with. I said, listen to this, and how could you come up with a sound like this? And he used an arco, an archet, and played it on a metal of a vibraphone to kind of create the resonance. And he did it with an iPhone.
Just to showcase.
Yeah. And he sent it back to me, and I said, well, yeah, I think it does the job, And I slapped it in on the queue and sent it to the team so that they can approve it. And they said, yeah, it's good. I said, yeah, but that was done with an iPhone, So it doesn't matter, we won't have to redo it. So it's one of the funny things that when we produced that track, I had to go at that length to really find that sound. And it was working, so I said, well, let's keep it then, even if it was recorded with an iPhone. And as for the rest, then, we kept the beginning pretty much the same, I think. And then, the nights are solemn and, what's the word that I am being shouted at sometimes? Gravitas. That was my main goal. I hope I achieved it. So the idea was that to keep the gravitas into the cue, the solemn and, the seriousness of the nights. So yeah, that's how it was made, and then it was a matter of writing the cue the way it was.
I would say that you did manage to bring back this, gravitas and all of that, but nostalgia too. We have some members on the team that are there since the beginning of the project, so even before launch, and they told me that hearing these few notes, they were brought back, not exactly 10 years ago, but 8 years ago. And
a long time.
Yeah, like traveling through time with music. This is extraordinary.
Yeah. And we know our players recognized it too. Like
Yes.
I know we saw the threads and the Reddits and the posts, but yeah, a lot of people out there that they totally vibe with that too. So
It's sometimes I read a comment where whenever they start playing 3 years ago, even though the game has been here for maybe 8 years or 9, I'm not too sure. And the team that is playing when they start playing the game is now the team that they do associate with the game, and they stay attached to it. And I see those comments once in a while. Oh, I'd like to be able to have a jukebox and choose my theme and go back, But I mean, this game is evolving, and the personages are also evolving. So that's why the music is also evolving. So we cannot keep the same thing all the time. But I know they really have a memory attached to the whatever team we come up with.
Yeah.
Yes, it's important to say that the themes of the season are reflected. As we said, we try to be coherent, so the themes of the season will be reflected in the music. And it was the case for season 1, but it was also the case for season 2, which was a samurai season. So this time going back to the core values of the samurai with the Muramasa Blade season. This was the season of Master Katashi, Master of Zen, trying to handle and self-discipline himself to use this really great weapon that is quite bloodthirsty and all of that. So you have to self-discipline to be Zen yourself. And he was contrasted with this giant beast of a man that is Sohei, or Oniwaka, the name of the main titular hero. And he was learning to be Zen, but not exactly that. So there was something of a duet, or there was contrast a lot between these two characters and between the bloodthirsty aspect of the sword and the self-discipline that you have to show. And it was reflected in a map, it was reflected everywhere. Was it reflected in the music too?
Yeah, but we try to highlight a lot of the duality in the music structure, but also the discipline to work really hard. We have two really interesting archetypes, so the Orochi skin, and then we have also Sohei. But both are really similar because every day they practice their art of fight, their discipline. They doesn't fight just because they are violent or they want to do a war. They fight to be better, to be more engaged in the art of fight. So each day they practice physical skills, they practice or doing meditation, so visualization, just to align well his mind with his physical skill. And at the end, for sure, it's a fighter. So it's challenge all these practicing art in a challenge, in a really important duel or whatever. So in this season, it's the duel. So we feel it in the main team at the beginning, it was a meditation. We have a breathing. It's a really cool feeling of Zen because they do that. In the middle of the team, we entering Soe, and now we set the musical theme for each archetype and instrumentation and kind of face off, a bit like fight box in the ring. Well, at the beginning of the box match, we have the announcer, or we could see in the left corner we have Oroshiskin, and in the right we have Soe. So it's a bit the idea.
That's how he brought it to me,
Yeah.
actually, and I didn't try to reinvent the wheel. You said in the left corner and in the right corner. So I went pan left, pan right, the two instruments. Basically, we started to associate the shakuhachi to the guy, on the bridge, meditating, ready for his fight. And the idea was to, kind of create a combat, a fight between the shakuhachi, and I used the shamisen for the, remind me the name of the...
Zoe.
Thank you. Sorry. So we have those two playing left and right, and the instrument kind of fight together. So this is, but there was no, how would I say, no particularity to the writing of the thing. It was really to create this kind of movement, left, right, and stop, and try to imagine visually, there's a sword that came close to you, so we stop the music, and like the moment is kind of suspended, and like this, and then it starts again, and it goes with a rhythm and drums, and we trying to create this kind of chaotic fight. So this is how we manage, I hope, to create this sensation of fight. And with Carl bringing all those ideas, a ring and a fighter. That gives me a direction, to work. So
You said that there wasn't anything, it's simply a duet or something like that. But there was something really particular with this season, I would say, because with the music of that season, because For Honor often is a lot of percussion, a lot of all bangers all the time, let's say. And in this one, you had to have this contrast because you had the self-discipline and the outside.
It's not that I'm not saying that there was nothing particular. It's just that there's no funny story.
Yeah,
there's no around the production. It was like we're writing a cue, and because there was less instrument involved in terms of recording, because whenever you hire a musician to do some recording and some production, then story happens too, for all kind of reasons.
I understand.
So and for a rare time, this is a season that we work with electronic instrument samples only, which are real player anyway. I mean, a sampled instrument is a real player recorded, and you trigger with a note. But since we had no recording in studio or so, that's the particularity actually. But doesn't mean it does not do the right thing. It worked, and we managed to do it on our own.
Still very interesting. Talking of all bangers all the time, next season was a Viking season, and that's like banging. So the next season 3 in the year, was the Shield of Vanguard. It was a season so about the Vikings, but we tried to do the Vikings with a different twist a bit. We wanted to do a season about death and about celebrating death, about how the Vikings see death as just the beginning of something else, because you are going into the afterlife. If you fought well enough, you're going into Valhalla, you're going to fight with the gods, into Ragnarok and all of that. But in order to do that, the Vikings had really specific burial rituals. Everybody would know the ship that you would sand and burn or something like that. But what was really important for the Vikings was to celebrate the life of the one who had died, and to celebrate it by singing his praises or her praises, just bringing them into to the attention of the gods, so that they would bring them into Valhalla. And so you celebrate life even in death. And this was the occasion for us on the narrative side to. Usually they would do it with a choir or something like that. They would really literally sing the praise of the dead person, and so we had the chance to write some lyrics on your music, which is not something we usually do, and we love doing it. So how is it for you having some lyrics on your seasonal music?
Yeah, this season was really particular because that many season ago we did other kind of lyric saga. We use a poem from public domains and we put that in music. But now, because we did in the past, we try to do something else a little bit different. It's why Foreigner scriptwriter wrote the poem by itself. It's cool because it was the first time on Foreigner we write exactly the lyric to fit really well with Godmother in this case. So we had to celebrate a legend, to tribute him. So this kind of celebration is mostly done by oral tradition, kind of saga with a choir that fit really well. We could imagine that this kind of saga is shared among Eat More by many villagers that sing this song in many different villages. So this lyric, it was particular because our scriptwriter write the text in English and then we grab it. It was cool, but finally we need to adapt them in Icelandic. Challenge is big because Icelandic, we can't translate one word by one word. We need to reappropriate the minding in English and then change completely differently to keep the same minding but with different word.
Yeah.
When we get it, it was cool. It fit more or less the number of syllables to make it possible in music. And then now at this moment, look
And it's
entering in
also
the process.
It's also impossible to pronounce, just so you know.
Well, for us, there are
Yeah.
people who
For
can
us.
pronounce
Yeah.
Icelandic. I'm pretty sure.
RGHTZ altogether. I'm not too sure. I put a slash on it. The idea, I mean, I received, they asked me, so what kind of text would you like to work with? And I basically said, we have, a metric system, bars and beats. And so how about between 12 and 16? In French, we say pied, so maybe foot. Syllable or let's say a little chunk of that kind of counts for a beat. Anyway, so they came up with this list, and there were way too many because I could not fit that in the. But it gave us choice, so I decided to go chronologically and try to pick the ones that I could sing myself because I had to do the demo, so I had to sing all the parts. So I didn't cheat, but I chose what made sense into the storyline and into the chronology, and also what I could possibly sing and make a sound come out of my mouth out of it with these letters put together, basically.
You're actually the singer. It wasn't me. It was you.
I'm
all the time.
I am not a singer, But there's one thing I discovered too in the course of this production is that I'm a baritone, so I can go low and I can go high. So I write the part and I send it to the choir in Sweden, and then the choir director called me actually. They can't sing that. They can't sing that. It goes too low for the tenor. It goes too high for the bass. So I said, okay, well, but we'll have the tenor go or the bass go an octave higher, or whatever, and it completely changed the mood of the thing, and it was not working anymore. So it was a disaster. We have to go back in studio and re-record.
Something happened after that, right? Because
but
it ended up looking great over here.
Yeah, well, they were kind enough, they really accommodated us into re-recording just a part and have the bass go a bit higher than they were supposed to, as opposed to ask the tenor to go too low. It sounded better to have the bass stretch to the highs as opposed to the tenor stretching to the lows. So that's how we managed to do it. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Basically, so basically the singer loses his voice. It's just going well. So basically that was the how we did it. With the text that the team came, I chose, I sang it, had it approved by the team for the demo, and then sent it to Sweden and they came up with, and it was a surprise to hear, oh, that's how you say this, oh, and that's how it sounds, you know, and it was sometimes really surprising, like, oh my God, I was completely off chart, you know, with the pronunciation, but yeah, that's how basically it came up.
I'm happy that you bring up the challenges that come with localization. And by the way, I want to a big shout out to our localization friends who help us to translate. You know that pretty much we have translation, localization for each different season, and usually with different languages. And of course, it was the case, and it was a challenge with the fourth season of the year, this season that we're presenting now. So we had to we created a Mongol-centric season, and we had localization in Mongolian for the hero, of course, but also a bit into the music. And we had to explore this wonderful Mongol culture and try to find things that would be iconic but not cliche. So throat singing, but using it the right way, finding the right instruments, finding the right tone, finding the right words. So how did you go about that? I mean, you're going in the old year from we're going with Gravitas with the Knights, we're going with Viking. I'm working with people in Sweden. I'm working with Japanese instrument, and then Mongolia. You're going all over the world. How do you do that?
I think we have to listen a lot of music, and when we start a new season, a new thematic, a new culture, we dive in a lot of music, try to understand what is the minding behind the composition, the instrumentation, what is the culture behind, and try to figure out what could fit with our thematic, with Foreigner, and how we could use it to stay just interesting and fit well with all this kind of culture blending. And at the end, we hope it works. So, but it's cool because we love music, we listen music, and we are getting influenced with that and with the story of Foreigner. So we need to have a story. So in this example of Ratun season, so we start with an idea of army arrival. So the army is coming closer and closer. So we imagine a bit Ratun army was on the top of the hill and then charged toward the bottom of the hill, really with a lot of aggressivity, a lot of chaos, destroying or killing every enemy on their paths. But the idea was they coming really closer all the time to get scare the other opponent. So it's more or less what we're hearing. I like that in the music. And then we have the big fight, for sure, because it's a fight. And then at the end, when the combat is finished, Ratun army is winning. So now they could impose this peace on Eatmore with the beautiful throat singing line melody that happened. So yes, it's still Foreigner. We have percussion. We have a lot of this kind of ADN of music, but we had slightly too interesting instrument that was like us. We have some throat singing, we're interesting, and we tried to have the horse fiddle also.
Horsehead fiddle.
Yeah, but it was more complicated finally.
Yeah. Well, you talk about the geographic aspect of and going from there to there to there. I personally rely a lot on the input of the musicians that I hire to do the work, because I cannot pretend to understand the DNA of or the source of those music, and I very much thank them now, publicly for their personal input into the making of this. And in the case of the Mongolian music, the first two things that come in mind are, yes, the throat singing and the horsehead fiddle. So we had the chance to have this amazing singer, Uyanga Bold, who has a mesmerizing, enchanting, amazing voice. And we also have, we tried, as you mentioned, we wanted a horsehead fiddle, which is like pretty emblematic of the sound of Mongolia. And in order to make the recording session work well, we decided to have a local cellist player to do some kind of a placeholder as to where we're going to have the instrument or what kind of line it's going to do. and her performance was just amazing. And well, there is this thing called temp love, temporary music or placeholder love, that kind of happened. And weeks after listening and re-listening to the placeholder, I believe me and the whole team kind of fell in love with this performance. And it's not because the performance of the Morinco player in California was not good. It's just because we got used to that, so we decided all together, and especially even more so the team, to keep the performance of the cellist.
Nice.
And I think it works amazingly well. What she does, she has the energy, and the Morinco has a much softer tone. And I wonder if played hard, if it could even bring, the punch of the cello played in a more contemporary way, let's say. So yeah, that's for the little story of the season, and also the fact that throat singing is right away associated with a male voice going oh, and Uyanga does throat singing, so we figured, wow, we have a female heroine, and she can do throat singing, so that's perfect. We're going to have something that we don't hear quite often, is a woman doing throat singing. And she brought sounds that were just coming out of this world, and you hear her doing her, her scream or more sometimes deeper voices. So I do rely on them, and I thank them for their input into the music for all the seasons, actually.
Awesome.
Well, this was wonderful.
Yeah, very cool. Well, thank you for that. So yeah, that's again really cool to again get a nice recap of all that. And folks, warriors out there, if you liked the music this year and you want to listen to it yourself, well, we have an album, like the end of year album that we normally like to put together, Forged in War, all the OST, music by Luc St. Pierre here. So you can follow the code there, but I'm sure we'll have a page on the site after this. But yeah, you can go download that or follow it on all those various music providers. It's great. You can just relive all this year, and look back, because we did that for the other years too, because the music's awesome and we love it. So very cool. Well, thank you again so much, Carl. Thank you, Luc. Thank
Welcome.
You, Raph,
Thanks for inviting me.
For all this amazing in-depth. Luc, we hope to have you back soon again for year 9, since that's also happening.
I hope so.
Yeah. All right, folks, listen, don't go anywhere, because we're going to be right back with some patch notes next. So we'll see you in a second. Welcome back, Warriors. Oh, JC's back too.
Yes, I am.
All right. Well,
Amazing.
we missed you. It's been a couple segments.
Yeah. But I was like patiently sitting in the back,
Yes.
listening to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Animation team, amazing job.
Amazing.
Like
Yes.
Grace and Noelle was her first time on. Amazing.
Yeah, great job.
Then music.
Mm-hmm.
Luc is amazing. Carl is also like really, really good. We're super happy. Like I always love like even sitting in the back. I work with these people all day.
Yeah.
You know, but it's still super cool to hear.
I know. Yeah, like
I
the
really
passion of these folks making this amazing.
Unbelievable.
It's great. So, but we have some patch notes lined up
Yes,
too for
yes, yes,
tomorrow.
yes, yes,
So what do we got?
We're gonna go into, but first let's start super quickly as a really fast recap of the last testing rounds we did for
Yes.
Peacekeeper feats. So we got feedback from it, right? We didn't get a lot of feedback, but we got feedback. It's good. Overall, the results were not as we were hoping, which is okay. It's totally normal. It
why we do
happens
it.
once in a while. That's why we do it,
Why
right?
we do it.
So we're gonna go back to the drawing board a little bit for Peacekeeper. So this means that we will not be pushing them live at the beginning of year 9.
Yep.
So it's gonna happen eventually. We're trying to repackage things a little bit and make sure that we have like a something that's gonna be a bit more like a bit better for Peacekeeper. But for now, like I said, it's not gonna come live. It's okay. That's the reason why we have testing grounds. Right? Sometimes things pan out, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they don't pan out, and it's not like oh yeah, just do this. Like 'cause sometimes we do testing grounds, and it's like oh yeah, there's like one little change here, one little change there.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. In this case, it's a bit more complicated, so we're gonna go back to the drawing board, get something better in,
Yeah.
and then get to where we need to be. So that should be good.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, so let's look at patch notes.
Right.
All right. So first off, we have a bit of a global change. So the forward dodge heavy attacks of these heroes, so Aramusha, Berserker, Highlander, Shinobi, and Tiandi, they now have 100 MS of Gorbrig vulnerability. It used to be at 433 for these heroes specifically. So we have a bunch of other heroes that have front dodge heavies that have 100 MS of Gorbrig vulnerability. We wanted to make sure that it was a bit more equal between everybody. So these heroes did not. It's a small buff for them. You can use it to kind of like beat Gorbrig attempts in some like frame advantage situation.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do there. But it's a bit of a quality of life change for these heroes. Should make them a little bit better and have a bit of improvement in this case.
Nice.
Next up, we have damage changes to Raiders. So we, as you may recall, we nerfed Raiders damage quite a bit. Like I don't remember exactly when.
A while ago, yeah.
It's been a while there. But essentially, we over nerfed Raider, right? And so as things go on, as the game progresses, as the meta changes, we get into talks with some players as well, and we kind of like figure out, okay, so what can we do? What could be interesting? And so Raider's damage was a little bit below the curve. So even though these might look like mostly like it's a 1 damage increase, sometimes it's a 2 damage increase, it still does add up and make a difference. They used to be much higher before. We nerfed them a bit too low, so now we're equalizing a bit more towards the center. Makes a bit more sense. You win a bit better in trading. You get into better situations. So essentially, the chained heavies deal 1 damage extra, and then the finishers, as well as the zone attack that you have in chains, which is Raider's Fury, deal 2 extra damage. So again, not massive changes to Raider, but still enough to get him a little bit more back on top, so we have something that like the hero becomes a bit more viable. We'll see where that ends up landing over time, but it makes a bit of a difference on Raider for this.
Awesome.
And then last slide here. So these are not the most massive patch notes. We have a new hero coming. We have a bunch of stuff happening.
Yeah.
So sometimes we have to like reshuffle things around. But we still have some other changes, right? So for Varangian Guard, so we adjusted the chain link timing from your dodge lights and from Helder Holdkeeper to light finisher specifically to be 300 MS up from 200. This means that in those situations, it's always going to be dodgeable. There was a bit of an issue here where like it wasn't super consistent.
Yeah.
It was really difficult or borderline impossible to dodge if you did like a side dodge right into a light or when they were blocked.
Right.
So this kind of changes that timing so it's easier to dodge. We also adjusted Blackprior's Tenebrous Trust, which is his front dodge heavy. So that attack has superior block while you're using it, but it had a 300 MS superior block window, kind of like what we have with Varangian Guard before. So this is not really necessary. We saw that those timings are not really good. So we're putting it back to 200 at the proper timing like we had before. So it's a change that we're doing overall for this hero to kind of like make him again more in line with what we have with other heroes. And then finally, so the last patch, if you remember, we removed Berserker's unlock tech kind of weird
Yeah.
glitch that he had. We also did a patch on Ephira, and it removed most of it, but there was still a way to do it on Ephira that we have now fully fixed and removed. Big thanks to new Francis, our game designer that worked on this, that figured out the exact solution to the problem. He fixed it on Berserker, managed to find the exact problem with Ephira. So really big thanks to him. We're able to get that done. And that is it for patch notes. Again, like, it's not the biggest patch notes that we've ever had. We have, like I said, we have a new hero. There's a lot of stuff coming. We're preparing for year 9. There's a lot of stuff happening. There's more testing grounds coming. More balance changes coming in the future. So we're taking a little bit of a breather here to come back in full force and be able to have a lot more stuff coming in the next year.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Awesome.
Cool. Well, JC, thank you so much for running us through those pretty quick. So, folks, stick around too, because we're going to be right back to wrap up the show and talk about what's coming up next in the next week or so. So, thank you, JC, once again.
Thank you, and stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Play KHATUN'.
Play KHATUN'. Domestic Best Girl Nusha.
This is very reflective of our PlayStations. Usually me just running away from you.
Gonna get it.
Oh,
I got it. Okay, sorry.
All right. Well, it didn't see you there. Didn't see you there. Just
Sorry.
playing some For Honor on the good old Steam Deck. Playable on Steam Deck. Pretty cool.
It works so
Yeah,
well.
it's fun. It's fun. But yeah, super excited. What a show. That was long. That was a long one.
That was a long one, but we had a lot to talk about.
Yeah, super exciting stuff. I mean, like new hero coming, got the free event pass.
Yeah.
The weapons on the hero look so cool. I
all
love
that customization, the armor, so good.
Super good.
Yep. And then
Love
the
it.
music at the end of the year, always nice to wrap that up too. So
yeah, that
really
was
good
nice.
stuff. So I'm excited. But yeah, I think we need to recap for you all, folks, what is coming up starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
Let's do
Anthony,
it. An
take us through it.
official list. So we've got KHATUN', our new hero, live tomorrow, looking super badass for 15K steel.
Right.
Free event pass. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, it's 2 weeks you can buy it for
True,
steel, right?
true.
So,
After 2 weeks, it'll be available for steel. But tomorrow it's $7.99.
there you go.
We've also got the free event pass, KHATUN'S piece.
Such a good pose there.
Yeah, I love that. Got some Hero Fest for Orochi, Pirate, and Griffin. Be on the lookout for that. We've got a throwback event, Battle of the Eclipse, running from
my gosh, I
February
love this
20th.
one.
The steampunk with the gears is so nice.
That big scythe.
Yeah.
Love that. Love that.
We got our balance patch that you guys just talked about.
That's right.
Live tomorrow. And we also have our free week starting tomorrow.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they play that cool graphic again. That's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, so come play. There's no excuses.
Yeah.
Come play.
Come hang out.
Come hang out. It's a great time in Heathmore.
Yeah.
It'd be fun. Yeah, folks, we also have some content of the week coming your way, too. So, available starting tomorrow until February 13th, limited time. We have a new execution, Let's Wrestle 2. We like the first wrestling exec so much. We made another one, so you get a nice DDT.
Nice.
Get it? I love that one so much. We also have a mythic outfit, the Flowers of Death, for 15K steel. So this is cool. Nice, pretty flowers. But if you wait for it during the emotes and the execs,
Oh yeah.
oh, they turn to spooky skulls.
Oh my god.
That's right. They're spooky skulls.
They are spooky.
They're spooky. I like it. We also have a weekly arcade quest coming up, the Sao Mesa Celebration, available for all players. So you can check that out starting tomorrow. So that'll be good. And the event order, KHATUN'S Peace, week 1. So be the faction with the most Dominion matches won. So that'll be going on as well for the first week. So yeah, great stuff
Nice.
there. So
Go play Dominion.
yeah, for sure. With KHATUN.
Yeah, of course. That's not all. We've also got Community Corner with our community managers, Jet and Josh. Take it away.
Welcome back to the show, Warriors. It's Community Corner time. I am Josh. We're joined by Jet. Jet, how you doing, man?
I'm doing all right.
Dude, I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. This is our first Community Corner of the year, though, at least that we're doing. So,
Yeah, and Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to all the Warriors out there. Hope you guys just stay nice and toasty, stay nice and cool, depending on your region that you live in. We got some really, really cool and fun stuff that we want to show you today. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and start off with the first clip from Hellcat. Conk's new execution is awesome.
Oh, it's so cool. I love it. And the sound effects here, so good.
Bonked around the world.
Oh, it's wonderful.
The bog heard around the world. Now we're going to have a nice little throwback to the Ice Brawlers game mode event from the holiday season. She's like, what's the one thing you shouldn't do when you're killing someone?
Do some gloating.
Yeah.
Of course, because you're going to...
Into the drink, the frigid waters below.
4 people down.
Yep. And now we've got another clip from Vidal the King. Always sends in awesome clips.
Yeah.
And just an epic cinematic.
That's
like,
so cool.
That could not have been timed any more perfectly.
Yeah.
And then a nice little farewell to the game mode. 07.
Yo, I love this art here. It's wonderful. I love the little details with the warriors in the background and the minions cheering. It's
Yeah,
great.
just like yeah. Actually, I didn't notice that until just now. That's sick.
Oh, this clip is awesome. It's probably the cleanest Kensei I've ever seen in my entire life. It's beautiful to watch.
Yeah, bro is a knower.
Yeah, he is.
Everything's just getting
You
parried.
see Kensei's entire moveset in this clip.
Yeah. I'm really bad at Kensei though. I wish I could be half as good as that.
You might get tips.
Ooh, true. Look at this awesome Peacekeeper Cyberpunk from Nebula. I don't even know how long it took to draw something like this, but it looks utterly phenomenal, and it'd be really cool to see like a short story with like some cyberpunk-esque type things.
It would, yeah. It's gorgeous art too. So thank you for sending that in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's gonna go ahead and do it for the clips that we have here today. Again, as we always say, if you want to be featured, just post on Reddit, Twitter, wherever we're at, just go ahead and tag us. All the memes, all the dreams, all the sick plays, all the fails, we'll take them all.
We're always listening, we're always watching, and we're excited to see new KHATUN'S clips, so we can't wait to see all the awesome gameplay that you guys come up with.
Yep, she's dropping tomorrow, so once you get your hands on her, go ahead and fire up that capture device that you got. We want to see all the awesome stuff. But that's going to go ahead and do it for us here. Thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to kick it back over to the studio people.
See ya.
And there you have it.
We are the studio people. Thanks, Jet and Josh. It's amazing. Oh, so good. Ice Brawlers. It's always just fun. Just salute on the way down. Like
I love that.
It's the best mode. I love it. Good stuff. Good stuff.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. Awesome show. Thanks for everyone for watching and sticking around. Nolan, thank you. Thank you for being
Anthony.
here.
Yeah,
This was awesome.
it was fun.
We should do this again sometime.
What, play the Steam Deck?
Yeah, let's do
Play
it. All right, folks. Have fun tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. Enjoy and stick around. I think we're going to be rating someone. Jet, Josh. I think we're rating someone. Stick around.
But who?
I don't know. We'll see.
What should they yell when they raid someone?
KHATUN?
KHATUN! There you go. Just call out the new hero when you raid.
Nice.
All right.